Hello lovers and friends, a warm welcome to Financial Freedom with Honeybee. My name is Malonda Hanabe, and on this channel we talk everything financial freedom. I'm taking you guys through my personal journey to financial freedom. If you are new here, please subscribe, please follow my Instagram page. It's called FF with Honeybee. Let's have conversation about financial freedom. Let's converse with each other. Let's help each other reach that financial goal together. Please note that anything that I say in this channel doesn't constitute financial advice. If you are looking for the services of a financial advisor, please be in contact with a qualified or a certified financial advisor. So today I want us to look at inflation rate and interest rate. So we're gonna start off with inflation rate. So inflation rate in definition is the increase in consumer goods. Currently, the inflation rate of South Africa is sitting at 5.5%. What this means is if you were able to buy groceries this year using 1,000, next year you'll need 1,000 plus the 5.5%. So that's what inflation rate is that increase in consumer goods. How does it affect you? If you are going through your own financial freedom journey, or just somebody who is basically living their life, it affects everybody. It affects you in the sense that if you are saving money or if you are investing money, you need to be able to beat inflation rate, because if you do not beat inflation rate, what that means is your money, it becomes less and less, not in numbers, but it becomes less and less in value. You need to ensure that your savings or your investments are able to beat the inflation rate. So ensure that you always know where the inflation rate of the country that you are in is at, so that you can be able to ensure that all the services or all the vehicles that you are using to help you reach your financial freedom, it beats that inflation rate. So in summary, your interest rate, it must be greater than the inflation rate at all the time. So this is how it affects you. For instance, if you didn't save any money, or if you were saving money under your mattress, so you are not getting any interest on that money, basically in the following year that money would have lost value. So with 100 rand now, you were able to buy bread, milk, but with 100 rand next year you need 2 rand to be able to afford all those things that you were affording the previous year. So make sure that your vehicles that you use to help you reach your financial freedom, it's always above the inflation rate. And also it's very important that it beats the inflation rate and also have a certain percentage which will help you reach your financial freedom goal quicker. For instance, if the inflation rate is at 5.5, get something that it's a 6.5, 7.5, 8.5. The higher the better, because you'll be able to make at least more money with your money. So we say that your money is working hard for you. So make sure that you know where the inflation rate is and beat the inflation rate. So yeah, that's how the inflation rate affects you. So let's move to interest rate. So interest rate is the compensation that the borrower, which is somebody who borrows money, pays to the lender. So the lender is somebody that lends the borrower money. So that compensation is called an interest rate. So for instance, if you borrow 1,000 and they give you an interest rate of 10%, that 10% is called a compensation. So that is the interest rate on the principal amount. So the principal amount is the original amount that you have borrowed, right? Yeah, so the interest rate is basically that compensation to the lender, right? So if you are lending or if you are borrowing money from the bank, so what the bank or the commercial banks do is they go and lend money from the central bank, because they don't necessarily have money all the time. So what they do is they go and lend money from the central banks. So your commercial banks, these are banks like your Capitec, your FNB, your Standard Bank, all these banks that we bank with, we call them commercial banks. So they go and borrow money from the central bank. So when they go and borrow money from the central bank gives them an interest rate which is called the repo rate. So it's the borrowing rate of the commercial banks. So that repo rate, when they come and lend you money, they ensure that the interest rate that they give it to you, it compromises of the repo rate plus their profit margin. But obviously the profit margin is regulated by the South African Reserve Bank. So currently the repo rate is sitting at 8.5%, currently sitting at 8.5%. And then the prime interest rate, which is the basic interest rate that the commercial banks give to borrowers, is sitting at 11.75. So basically on top of the repo rate, the profit margin for the commercial banks is sitting at 3.25, right? So to make that 11.75. So the 11.75 is called the prime interest rate or the basic interest rate. Yeah. So what they do obviously is they go and borrow that money and then they come and borrow it to you. But it's not guaranteed that they will give you that loan on prime interest rate. So what they go and further do is they come and look at your credit profile. So they come and look at your credit profile. If you are not really a good borrower, then they will give you a prime plus a certain percentage. So if you are getting an interest rate on your car or your house of 14%, just know that basically is that prime, which is 11.75 plus that 2.25, which is the prime plus. So the total is 14%. So that means that you are not really a good payer. If you're a good payer, you'd get that basic interest rate, which is called the prime. So if you've got assets and you've got more money that you can negotiate with the banks, they normally even can go below the prime and give you the prime minus. So the prime minus is for the good payers or the good debt payers. So they get prime minus. But what the commercial banks will never do, they will never give you less than that repo rate, because they still want to make profit out of you making debt, right? So this is how interest rate works. So if you go and borrow money for your assets or for your car, which is also an asset, then that's how your interest rate gets worked out. So how do you know where you are, if you're a good payer or if you're a bad payer? So what they go and do is they go and look at your credit profile. So how your credit profile works is they look at how well you pay your debt. So people who pay their debts on time and people who don't use the maximum allowable debt that they have, they normally have a good credit score. So for instance, if you have an account with Rage, for instance, and your maximum limit is 4,000, if you use around 50%, less than 50%, and pay it off on time, then you'll probably have a good credit profile. But if you constantly max out that limit to 4,000, every time you're owing 4,000, you pay all 4,000, it shows that you are reliant on debt. So your credit profile will be slightly not good enough, right? So you'll probably be somebody who gets the prime plus interest rate. So that's how interest rate works. So also, if you are a lender, right? So a lender is somebody who borrows somebody money. So if you've got money in your savings account, we also call you a lender because you have lended the bank your money. So by you saving it there, the bank uses your money to finance other people who takes loans. So you are eligible for interest rate, but obviously your interest is determined by the bank. So in most cases, they hardly give you the prime interest on the money that you save. So they will give you something like your 8%, your 7%, but just ensure that you are getting more than the inflation rate so that your money doesn't lose value. So if you are somebody who is saving money from the bank, just so know that the repo rate also works in your favor, because if the repo rate goes up, the interest rate that you collect from your savings or your investment account also goes up, because you are supported as a lender or you are seen as a lender. So yeah, that's how the repo rate works for you. If you are a lender, the repo rate works for you. If you are a borrower, the repo rate works against you, because the more that repo rate, the higher that repo rate is, the more you're going to pay on interest towards your loan. So also what the Reserve Bank does is they look at the type of debt. So all the interest rate that the bank gets to charge you, it is regulated by the Reserve Bank. So if you're buying assets, your interest rate is slightly lower. If you are buying things that don't have, or let me put it this way, so if you are buying assets because you have a collateral, so if you are buying a house, your house becomes your collateral to that loan. If you struggle to pay for the loan, the bank can take the house. So if you are buying a house, your interest rate are slightly lower than somebody who has credit card, because with the credit card or with a student loan, you do not have a collateral, so you don't have an assets to show for what you've purchased or what you're going to use the money for, right? So that's why the interest rate of your credit cards, your student loans, and any other thing that doesn't have collateral is actually very high interest. So yeah, it's still cheaper than your mashonisas or your loan checks, but it's still relatively high compared to when you are buying assets. So the Reserve Bank regulates that too, so that you do not have, or you do not become overly indebted. So yeah, make sure that when you are using debt to improve your life, make sure that you are on the right, or you are making the right debts, and you have a good credit profile to support you getting less and less interest rate in your own financial freedom journey. So I hope that everything that I have said has made sense, and I've clarified nicely or easily for in layman's terms, so that you understand it better. So inflation rate is the rate at which goods and services increase, and then interest rate is the rate that the lender, or is the compensation that the lender gets from borrowing you money. So yeah, if you are somebody who is saving, you are also a lender, but obviously what the banks won't do is they won't give you that prime, because they still want to make profit out of the money that you save in the bank. So whatever interest rate that they give you, they are still making profit out of your money. So yeah, that's all I wanted to share with you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this video. So yeah, share the comments on the comments below. Let's have conversation. Let's keep talking. Love you lots. I will see you guys on the next video.